So today I'm gonna present to you why Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky is the best game ever created. First of all, the music. I'm gonna play the music throughout this presentation, but it's amazing. You can find some of them on Spotify, but they are really good. If you don't like the 8-beat style, you can use you have piano covers, but I find the original music so pretty. Yeah. Then the graphics. The graphics are just amazing and plenty of life. They have plenty of life and okay, so not all of them, but if you look at the backgrounds, while still pixel art, and pixel art can be amazing, it is incredibly detailed. It is just they are so pretty, and I haven't found background in Pokemon Mystery Dungeons Explorers of Sky that is ugly. And if you play on a DS, the graphics will be scaled down, so they will be more as they were intended. And if you play on an emulator, the graphics will be you'll see each pixel like you can see in those pictures. So most of the time, the graphics of the characters are really good. They don't hinder on how much you can like the story, because most of the time they're pretty expressive, and even though they're cartoony, and yeah. And then the story. So I'm going to spoil you about 3 out of 3 chapters on the 20 of the 20 chapters. And I say about because I'm gonna spoil you some things that will happen later, but they're not so important and they won't hinder your capacity to love the story. So you start with a personality quiz. Yeah, and in the personality quiz, they do ask you if you're male or female, and some personalities are locked between male and female, which is weird, but the game was made in 2007. In 7. The game officially released on 2009, but the main game was made in 2007. So then you start, the story really starts, and it starts with a storm. There's lightning and rain, and your partner tells you not to let go, and you let go, and you wake up on a beach. So once you're on this beach, a Pokemon comes to you and is like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And of course you freak out because a Pokemon is talking to you. And this Pokemon, that I will call partner, looks at you and is like, you do know you're a Pokemon, right? And you look at yourself, and yeah, you have become a Pokemon. And the Pokemon you become depends on the result of the personality quiz you did earlier. So everyone cheats on the personality quiz. You can cheat if you want to. What I did, it was to redo it 3-4 times, and then find a Pokemon I liked, and then just have this one. So yeah. You can use websites to have the precise one you want, but even then it's not super precise. Who cares? And then you don't have so much time to think about your situation, because you have two thugs that steal a precious rock that your partner has, and so you follow them into the mystery dungeon to retrieve it. So now we're exposed to what are mystery dungeons. Mystery dungeons are a random assortment of rooms and hallways. So they will always look the same. The tiles will be the same, the floor will be the same, the border will be the same, what's in the wall will be the same. But the rooms will be different, the hallways will be different, the configuration will be different. To a certain extent, the enemies will be different. The money you can find on the floor, and most importantly of all, the locations of the stairs will change each time. And the stairs are what you need to go up or down depending on the level and advance through the dungeon. So if you enter the same dungeon twice, you won't have the same rooms at the same place or anything. You'll just have like it will vaguely look the same, but like the rest the rooms and everything will be different. And later into the story you can have missions in the mystery dungeons. So one of those missions is you have like missions where you have to carry someone to a certain level, or fight an outlaw, or retrieve an object, or find a Pokemon and just talk to him. So yeah, you have like a bunch of different missions that you will have in mystery dungeons, but right now you just have like this one mystery dungeon, in which you don't have much. You just have to go to the last level. If you fail in a mystery dungeon, you lose half of your objects and half of your money, which can be problematic if you aren't prepared for that. But as we'll see in the town portion, you have like things that are made so that you won't lose what's most important. And so in the end of the mystery dungeon, this mystery dungeon, the beach cave something, you'll have like a boss battle, and the boss battle is against the two thugs. It's pretty easy, and once you beat them up, they give you back your rock, and your partner is like, okay, now that I have this rock and I have you, I feel ready to do an exploration team with you. Would you like to do an exploration team with me? And you're like, literally, I have nothing else to do. I don't know where I am. Sure. And so you go into the Wigglytuff Guild. So I'm going to present to you some of the Wigglytuff Guild members. We'll start with Wigglytuff, of course. He's one of my favorites. When you look in his eyes, you can see your reflection. There's like nothing going through his eyes. But when there is something going through his eyes, and when he is like concentrated, or like when he wants to, he is like super strong. Then you have Chatot. So I don't like Chatot because he steals. So when you do missions, you get like a certain amount of money, and Chatot steals 90% of that money and gives you 10%, which is very mean. So I didn't like it. He does have his redeeming moments at the end, but like I used to hate him with a passion. And then you have Bidoof. I love Bidoof. Bidoof was the newest exploration member, guild member before you came. And he tries, okay? He really tries. He fails a lot, but he tries. He really tries. And you have like a lot of other members, and all of them have their own personalities, some more than others. And yeah, it kind of creates this family atmosphere where you kind of know everyone and everyone knows you. It's pretty cool. And through your adventures, you'll be able to meet bigger exploration teams. Like you'll be able to see Team Charm, or like that is like one of the biggest exploration team ever. Or you'll be also able to see Dustnor, which is the biggest solo explorer ever. And you're gonna be able to meet him, and yeah, it's like kind of a mentorship situation. It's late into the story though. Into the town. In the town you have, I love this animation, you have the brothers Kecleon. You have to know that the pink one isn't shiny, okay? Because the shiny Kecleon looks like the green one, but the red band is blue. So he isn't shiny, he's just sick. And they hold a shop where you can buy TMs, which are basically things that will allow you to learn special moves. You can't learn every move, but you can learn some moves, and usually you don't know until you buy the TM, except if you look online, or like seeds that will allow you to get revived in the dungeon, or orbs that will allow you to see the whole layout of the dungeon. I mean, you have a lot of objects. Yeah. Then you have Duskull. He's my favorite. He holds a bank, and he'll keep your money. I'll advise you to put all of your money in the Skull Bank, not because there's any interest, but because that way you won't lose it in mystery dungeons. And then you have Genghis Khan, who runs a storage unit. And yeah, if you have special objects you want to keep, use Genghis Khan. And they live in this treasure town. As you can see, there are other people. When I was a kid and I first played it, I was like 8. I talked to them maybe once. Honestly, the other people, like especially Electivire, are like can be very good and create like very strong teams. But like the 3 that I presented to you are the main ones. Next, in this world, you have to know that there are time gears. So time gears are gears that assure the flow of time. Usually they're protected by a Pokemon, and no one ever would steal a time gear, because why would you stop the flow of time in the zone? Yeah, that's what happens when you take off a time gear. The flow of time in this area just stops, freezing all the Pokemons inside. And everything. So why would you steal it? Of course, some time gears are being stolen, so that's the whole that's a part of the story. And then your ability as a protagonist is the scream. So it starts when you are with Meryl and Zoroil. They're like 2 brothers. They are like, hey, this guy, Drowsy, told us he can help us find an object for our sick mother. That's so cool. And then you accidentally bump into Drowsy, and you're like, you feel something, you see something, you don't know what it is, and you're like, you don't really know anything. You just like, you talk to your partner about it, and they're like, nah, it's Drowsy seems like a good guy. And then you go back to the guild, and you discover that Drowsy is a wanted criminal. And so he took away, like the older one, he told him to stay behind, and he took the little one up into the hills, and your job is gonna be to find him and prevent the little one to having any harm. And that's pretty much all I'm gonna spoil as far as the story goes. One thing I'm gonna add is that you need to play Pokemon Explorer of Sky and not Pokemon Explorer of Darkness or of Time, because Pokemon Mystery Dungeons Explorers of Sky has special episodes that are not in the other 2 games. And special episodes are basically chapters, where you're gonna, optional chapters that you can play whenever, where you're gonna play another character. So like the first one, you play Bidoof before you come to the guild, before you and your partner come to the guild, and it's like a cute story. Most of the story are really good. Some I have problem with some of them because I don't like them, but they're like okay. And the one you need to play is the 5th one. So you don't have to play like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 to play the 5th, because you unlock them during your adventure. So you can play the 5th without having played the others. And it's honestly like the best part of the game, one of the best part of the game. It's so well written and so pretty. Not pretty, but like really cool. And after, so you might tell me, is there drama? The answer is yes, there is so much drama. You have twists and villains, and it's so dramatic. Is there romance? No, what the fuck is your problem? They're fucking Pokemon. Why would you want romance between... So, if I'm being fair, there is like a ship between 3 Pokemon, but like it's so subtle, and like it's basically just because fanfic people have to make romance out of everything. But like, yeah, there's no explicit romance, nor implicit, if I'm honest. The romance is like, romance that you can find is like super implicit. Yeah. You might tell me, yeah, but it's for kids. Yeah, it is. But The Owl House and Avatar The Last Airbenders are for kids. So it doesn't mean because it's for kids it's bad. It's for kids, but it's well written. I'm gonna give you one example of why it's for kids and one example of why it's well written. So it's for kids because you have a frequent use of flashbacks. So if you look at, sometimes you'll have a story event that happens 10 minutes before, and you'll have a flashback to that event. That can be a bit annoying, but like honestly, you can just mash A and just skip the flashback. It's pretty easy, and it can become annoying, but like it's not that annoying. And honestly, it's very useful if you just stop playing for like a couple of weeks and you don't remember anything. And it is well written because like in the universe, you can have like the characters in the town will change every day or so, and their dialogue will change too. And if you talk to them like multiple times, you'll have a story that will unfold, or like they'll, maybe not all of them, but like some of them will have like a personality, or like, and they'll give color commentary on what's happening, and it's really cool. Yeah, and it allows you to expand the universe because like you're not the only one with a story. You have like the other characters that are living their own little story. And also it's for kids, but it talks about sacrifice, the meaning of life. Okay, up to there, I mean, fair enough. Death, and of course my favorite, suicide. So, I'm not kidding when I'm talking about suicide. I mean, you have one scene where the Pokemon you're playing has to convince one of their friends not to jump off a cliff to end themselves. So you might tell me, yeah, but it's gonna be triggering. And no, it's not gonna be triggering, because the whole triggering part is, like, you have 5 chapters of post-game, and all of the triggering part is in the last chapter of post-game. So if you just play the 4 first, and then you just stop at the title card for the 5th one, and just read what's happening, you should have the story. I mean, it's sad because it's too bad, because like it's a really good story, the 5th chapter of the post-game. But I mean, if you don't want to be triggered, it's an option. You might tell me I don't have the time. Yes, you do. I mean, except if you're in med school or something like that. So it's 20 hours cut into 20 small chapters. If you want to be a math nerd about it, it's 15 minutes per day during 2.5 months, or 30 minutes a day for 1.5 months. Or if you're like really determined, you can do it in like one weekend. You might tell me it's too short. Well, if you want to finish everything in the post-game, you need 150 hours. If you want to finish just a story, including special episodes, post-game chapters, and just a story, it's 40 hours. I would advise you to do the 40 hours, because that's where you get the biggest part of the story. And it's also, like, the story is so good, why would you want less of it? Yeah. You might want a hard game. If you want a hard game, it's really easy. As a kid, I was never able to beat the game because it was too hard. If you just play the game as intended, it is challenging. Especially if you don't have like the best strats for like combos to have like special attacks that suit. I don't know how they work, but like if you don't have the special strats, it can be a really hard game if you just play it as intended. And if you want an easy game, it's quite easy. Most of the time, the story will tell you, "Oh no, we have to go in this direction. We need to. It's really problematic. We need to go there right now." And then you can be like, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna do 10 side quests and level up, and I'll be back. I'll be back when I want to do it." You can, in most cases, you can like just stop it and just do everything else and level up. So basically grinding. And even when you can't, you can usually put like everything into the Kangaskhan storage, and then just like brute force it 70 times until you get good energy and good good enough. Because you don't lose your levels when you get out of a mystery dungeon, so you'll get better and better. You might tell me I never played Pokemon. First, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why? It's okay, but like what you need to know is that there's 17 types. Technically, there are 18 types because you have the fairy type, but at that time, fairy type hadn't been invented yet. And each type can have 4 interactions with another type. It can be super effective, resisted, and immunized. So for example, fire is super effective against grass, and grass is super effective against water. And when it's super effective, it does twice the damage. When it's effective, it does 1 time the damage. And when it's resisted, it does 0.5 times the damage. And of course, when it's immunized, it does 0 times the damage. And most of the combinations are quite logical. Some are not. But yeah. From this type chart, you can have 2 types of player. You have the planner. So the planner is gonna Google each Pokemon, Google their type, Google the table of interactions between the type and the attack, and then choose the right attack. Or you can do like me when I was a kid, because I remind you, I played this as a kid. So I mean, you can play it as an adult. It's not that confusing. You can be like YOLO. So you use any attack, you see what it does, because it will tell you if it's like super effective or resistant.
À qui pouvons-nous faire confiance pour déployer l'IA? La faute à qui?
You might learn that, it's weird. When I use
Avec HPE Green Lake, nous avons accès au calcul haute performance pour bénéficier de toute la puissance de l'IA adaptée à nos besoins.
Usually it doesn't do much. I wonder if fire is not effective against water. And usually it's helped by the fact that most Pokemon look like their type. So most Pokemon, like if they're green and they have leaves, you can guess they're maybe grass type. So yeah, it is quite, you can do it without Googling every time. You might tell me I hate Pokemon. What the fuck is wrong with you? Pokemon is okay, but like if you don't like Pokemon because you play like a random human with no story and no personality, okay, you don't play a human. You play a human turn into Pokemon, and you don't have a lot of personality, but like, you used to have one, and you have a past, mysterious past, because you don't know it, but like, you have a past. You might tell me, I hate completing the Pokédex, I mean, it feels too grindy. You don't have to, you don't have a Pokédex. I don't like the gyms, I don't like the monotype gyms, they're just so boring. Here, the progressions are measured with, boss battles. So, and you have like most boss battles, you can only fight them with you and your partner. So some boss battles you'll be great against, typing wise, and some you will be horrible against. And yeah, it's you don't have the gyms where it's so easy to just like have 70 grass type for the water type and for the water gym and then just do it. You might tell me I hate the evil team. They're just so boring. Well, every character in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is, except for one, the very last boss, they have either a justification for what they're doing, and that justification may be just self-preservation, or they have like one moment where you're like, okay, I don't like you, but what you did was cool, like it was nice. You might tell me I don't have the game or DS. So first of all, you're not gonna buy the game because the game is like $90. Please don't buy it. What you're gonna do is you're gonna use an emulator. It's free. It's called Desume. And then you're gonna use a ROM, which is basically a virtual cartridge, a virtual game. And so you're gonna play it on Desume, which is the virtual console. And it's gonna allow you to play the game. You might say, oh, it seems so complicated. Literally, you download Desume, you go on this website, rumsunfun.com, and then you download the game, and then you just play it. I mean, if you don't know how to use Desume, you have like 1,000 guides on the internet. It's done in like 20 minutes, and then you have games for life. DS games for life. In conclusion, the story is great, the gameplay is amazing, the universe is rich and so grand and so it's so good, and the music is just amazing. But it's still a game with some defects, and I'm gonna talk about them and why they're not that big of a deal. First of all, you have all the flashbacks. Sometimes in the story, as I said, you'll have a flashback for something that happened 10 minutes ago. But honestly, all the flashbacks are in sepia tone, so it's easy to just mash A until you get to the good part. It can be repetitive, yes, because you're always going into a dungeon doing the same kind of missions. But like, the layout changes, the enemy changes, the objects changes, you can have different people on your team, so it can be repetitive, but like, I don't find it that repetitive. Some characters are annoying, that is true. I have some characters I just do not like, not because they're mean or anything, just because I find them annoying. And that's part of the thing. The universe is so big and so expensive that some of the characters you won't like. And I find it pretty, like, it's a sign of how big the universe is, that some characters you won't like them, and some of them you will. And the characters you don't like will be someone else's favorite character. And finally, you don't have a presentation of Pokemon. It's true, but like, to be honest, the games at that time didn't present Pokemon a lot. It got better with Diamond and Pearl, but even then, I mean, it got better with Black and White and then all the 3DS games. But like, yeah, they don't present Pokemon that well. If you want help, literally Google is your friend, or you can play it without knowing anything, because I remind you that as an 8-year-old, I was able to play it with like minimal knowledge of Pokemon, so you should be able to do it well. So yeah, class dismissed.